All right, Mr. Hyde, will you call us to order at 6 o'clock? Would y'all please stand? Say our prayer. All right, Mr. Hyde, will you call us to order at 6 o'clock? Would y'all please stand?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Before we come to do tonight, we ask for your guidance, we ask for your continued support, we ask for your ever loving hand over what we have here tonight, and what we're going to do tonight, and what we do for this district. You're an awesome God, and it's through you that we have all the things that we have. The love and understanding that we can have with you is beyond belief and beyond understanding. We pray that you would be with all of our kids as they travel through their sports and other school functions, and keep them safe. Pray that you'd also be with the Mackey family tonight. There's some very hard news. These things we ask in Jesus' name.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor to take this flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thanks, sir. Okay. We're going to conduct a public forum to receive comment on safe return to in-person instruction plan. Okay. Anybody have any comments or on return? Okay. Then, all right, we'll talk about it later. Okay. All right, we're going to adjourn from the public forum to reconvene to the open forum. 6:02. 6:02. Call us to that at 6:01. All right, open forum. We have two people that have signed up. Mr. Watson. Sir. Would you like to speak first?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll do it from here.
You can do it from there, or you can
Come up here, wherever you
where
feel
come.
Okay, well, I'm speaking more to you guys than I am anyone, so I'll do it from right here.
Okay.
I'm going to read my speech from my phone here, so.
Sure, we're going to give you, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yes, sir.
we'll give you 3 minutes,
Okay,
and they'll keep time, and then if you go over a little bit, that's no big deal.
Okay.
Richard will keep time, he'll give you a notice that you just got a few minutes left, or
Okay.
30 seconds or so.
all right, I appreciate it. Like I said, my name is Justin Watson. I came here tonight, I want to spend the next 3 minutes talking to you guys about the character, in my opinion, of Coach Wiggins, and about the value that he brings to our community. My wife and I moved here to Fruitch in 2008, and we thought this was a good town to raise our family, our future family. We've really enjoyed it here. My kids love going to school here. I have a 13-year-old son. He's played under Coach Wiggins for the last couple of years. During that time that he's played for Coach Wiggins, I've been thoroughly impressed by the values that Coach Wiggins has brought to our town and to our school. I know with all the events that have happened in the last couple of weeks, I just want to say that Coach Wiggins has taught our children some of the exact same things that we've tried to teach them in our homes. His message to our young athletes has been very clear since the day he got here. That is to do what's right, do your best, treat others the way that you want to be treated. And I feel like he lives up to that daily. Coach Wiggins is a Christian with Christian values, and I believe the same can be said about his wife. My family and I are grateful for those values, for the work ethic that he shows our kids, and for his desire to do his best and to have them do their best. Truth is that our children are our future leaders of this country and of this community. Coach Wiggins and his coaching staff help to give our children a good foundation and to be successful no matter what life throws at them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mrs. Brown. She wants to speak on September 2nd football.
I do, and I too have some notes that I'm going to read from,
Okay.
just because. So I'm Corey Brown. I am the mother of the child that was assaulted on Friday, September 2nd. The Sunday following that event, I received a call from a board member, represented himself as such, and that phone conversation lasted 56 minutes. I was very distraught during that conversation. I don't feel like my voice was heard very well. And so that phone conversation led me to come to this board meeting tonight because I want my stance on this situation to come from me. I don't want my words twisted in any way. So, you know, I do appreciate reaching out to check on Jace. I appreciate that very much. I wish that I felt like that was the only reason I received this phone call. I do feel like there was an agenda to it. So I need to clarify just where I stand on the whole situation. I personally do not hold anybody from the coaching staff responsible for what happened. I believe they were dealt a really ugly hand. I believe it was a tense moment for multiple reasons. And I think that they handled it with grace and dignity and as time efficiently as possible. I think that they took all matters, all players into account when they handled the situation. They were there for my boys when I couldn't be because I unfortunately did not make it to that game. I'm a nurse myself. I was taking care of patients. So they stepped up and took care of my boys until I could get there, along with several others that I've been greatly indebted to. I completely 100% support the superintendent, the principal, and the coaching staff on the way it was handled. It was asked if I was going to pursue any legal action, and no, that is not my intent. It never was my intent towards the school. I will clarify now that there won't be any legal action against the young man or his family either. I've had a good conversation with the young man's mother. My boys want nothing more than to meet with the young man that did the assaulting and talk it out and discuss it and put it behind us and let's move on. I reached out to Mr. Vanderpool to facilitate that conversation, and he was very happy to do so. I 100% trust him to handle that situation, so that's in his hands. I just felt like I needed to show up and
That is 3 minutes.
let people know that you know, I don't hold anybody from the school system responsible at all. I think it was a situation that required grace and a level-headedness, and I think that happened. So anyway, that is my stance. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight and listening and speaking what you had to say to us. We appreciate everything that you've done as a parent to, forgive with your kids. Okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. All right. We need to approve the minutes August 8th through the 29th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve, or does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda? No? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda and the approval of the minutes for August 8th and 29th?
I move to approve the consent agenda items 1 and 2.
Okay, thank you, Rusty. Motion by Rusty, do I have a second? Stacy. All in favor? None opposed, motion carries. All right, let's move on to the regular agenda. And the regular agenda will start with review of the student handbook. And Mr. Garrison.
Each year, we get the TASB model, kind of like we do the board policy. And so we take the TASB model and we compare it to ours, and they change some wording, they change some things from here and there. There wasn't any local policies changed, is that correct, Mr. Vanderpool? It was just all the updates from TASB, and so Mr. Vanderpool was in, he updated the student handbook for us, and so, like I said, it wasn't any of the local policies that we have, it's just the wording of the.
All the legal.
Right, yes, sir.
Okay. So no local changes, just legal. Anybody have any questions about the handbook? Okay. And so let's move on to the employee handbook. Any changes in that?
The employee, just like the student handbook, the employee handbook, we get a model from TASB. There were no significant changes from the model. So the only things that really changed in the employee handbook is I went and changed, the administrators to the whoever was in that position now, added the new calendar and updated the dress code. Other than that, there was just like some B's and A's that changed. There's very little change from the state this year.
Okay.
Oh, and I did take out, there was a little section that said we had to wear masks. I took that out.
Well, thank you. I'm sure they appreciate it. Okay, any questions for Richard? All right, let's move on to consider and possible action to revise state 2, to revise safe return to in-person instruction plan.
Mrs. Searle?
Yes, so I wish they changed the name because basically it's a COVID policy. And so we updated the principals. Also, we took out the mask requirements, the 6-foot social distancing requirement as well. Made sure that it showed that the campuses were open. Updated the UIL policy. UIL now has no formal policy at the moment of COVID requirements. Changed the 10-day student and teacher rule. It's now 5 days if they get COVID. There is also no more close contact requirements. So it's just if you have COVID, then you have to be out for the 5 days. And so we're required to do this every 6 months. And those were the major changes to the plan.
And then we also allowed for teachers that did get COVID to
Yes. Yeah, we
for those days that they're off.
Yeah, you approved that last meeting.
Right. Okay. All employees, excuse me. Okay. Does anybody have any more questions on the safe return to in-person instruction plan? I got a motion.
I move to approve the revised safe return to in-person instruction plan.
Okay, I have a motion by Doug, do I have a second? Second by Mike. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed, motion carries. All right, we're going to start with the campus reports, and Ms. McCallum will start off.
All right. Well, over at the elementary, Ms. Wiggins implemented a teacher devotional time that we're meeting on Wednesday mornings, and we're reading through the book, Change Your Mindset, Change Your Teaching. And we're doing that at 7 o'clock on Wednesday mornings. Our teams, all of our teams created vision boards, and we have those posted, what their vision as a team is for this upcoming year. And there's a sample of that. We've had visits from the police, Chief of Police Chapman, Officer Davis, and a state trooper. And the great thing about that is they walked through our schools, they met with our kids, they went out on the playground, And they're just looking at our campus, so they're very familiar with our campus, and our kids are loving seeing them. And one of our little girls even asked the state trooper if he wanted to go play on the playground with her, and he went out there with her, and we got to show him our new equipment. Since August, we have had a lockdown drill, fire, and shelter-in-place drills. And our staff is doing a really good job of keeping their doors locked and closed at all times. We're not popping doors, and we're checking the exterior doors every week. And they're doing a great job of wearing their badges too. We have about 60 new kids, and of course that includes our pre-K, our 2 pre-K classes. We're getting a couple more actually this week from New York. I went ahead and updated our attendance rate as of today is actually 96.63. And then we have some upcoming events. We are taking the kiddos over to the high school to support the pep rallies on Fridays. We've chosen the grade levels wanted to go twice. And so we coordinated a schedule and worked with Mr. Vanderpool to do that. And our kids will go not this Friday, but next. We've implemented an attendance incentive that will recognize kids on September 28th for those that have perfect attendance. Mr. Earls found a really neat prize machine at a conference she went to this summer, so we are renting that, and that's been a huge motivator for our students to be at school. And we are kicking off our fall fundraiser in September. So we've had a really good start.
Good deal. Right, Ms. Carter.
So on the front page of mine, I put a picture where it was actually the second pep rally that the junior high attended. So far, we've gone to every pep rally, and the kids seem to be really enjoying that. On the next page, I put some news. So student council is up and running. They've already elected officers. So Willow Sylvie's the president, Emily Bass is vice president, Seth Watson is the secretary, and Cindy Riddle is the treasurer. We also have our pep squad in full swing. We have Miss Munden and Miss Watson working on that with the kids, and they are attending the home games and cheering on the kids doing that. And then we've also had some high school students come over and meet with our kids and trying to bring BPA, which is Business Professionals of America, over to the junior high to try to help get that going over there so that they can help them have more success when they get into high school with that program. And then I put some upcoming events. Of course, we have volleyball and football every week. We had pictures this week, and we have cross country running in needs as well. That's all there. On the next 2 pages, I did pull some data from some DMAT tests that some of our teachers have already given. On the first one there, we have some 6th grade math data, which looks pretty good for being, the first one's history, sorry. Those are both history, sorry. U.S. history, so that looks, to me, looks really good. We have a new teacher in that this year, Ms. Deather, she's doing really good at that. And then on the next page, I have some science, some 7th grade science and some 8th grade science. So if you'll notice, the top one is the 7th grade science, and the red in the circle is the did not pass. But I did speak to Ms. Robinson this morning, and that was the 7th grader's first test with her, and it was over photosynthesis, so she did say that that's one of the more difficult ones that she gives. So we went over all that this morning. And then on the next page, I just threw some pictures in there. So the first picture is, so we have Miss Lucero is a new librarian with us this year. She moved from aide to librarian, and that was her very first time to have kids in the library. She was pretty excited about it. And then the bottom pictures there are our science club, which Miss Robinson does our science club, and they meet, I believe, several days after school. And they are working on designing furniture that they're going to build out of cardboard boxes. They had a whole bunch of refrigerator boxes and washer dryer boxes brought to the school, and they are going to be building furniture out of those boxes. So we'll definitely bring some of that up here whenever they get done with that. And then on the next 2 pages, it's just some pictures of our first sporting events that we had. We had cross country, we had 7th grade football, the pep squad cheering on some volleyball, and 8th grade football. And then on the last page there is all of our volleyball girls. So it's been fast and furious so far.
Oh, that's it. All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Vanderpool.
Felix. Thank you, sir. Okay. Kids have been great to start the year. I've had several teachers that said, which I better knock on some wood, that it's been smooth so far. I mean, we've had our hiccups, but nothing major. As you can see, we have Manny Bomar there with the new Spirit belt that has replaced the Spirit stick, the pep rallies, and the kids seem to be enjoying that. I know Tom wants the seniors to regain the belt this Friday instead of the juniors having it. Band's doing good. Pep rallies have been busy, but if you didn't know, my wife is the cheer sponsor, so I have to speak glowingly about that. Move down, Felix. Cross country has started up. There we've got little Brayden with the belt, which he keeps it during the week. He doesn't like to give it up at pep rallies, and he gets it back. And then we've got some volleyball pictures there. Scroll down. Attendance total for August is 95.8. I did start Saturday school this last Saturday, so I'm already calling parents, letting them know where their kids are at. Trying to get ahead of the ball game on that one. And then our attendance for the year right now is just shy of 95, which my goal is 96%. It was, I think, 94.1 last year. Hallways, vape detectors are working. I think the high school kids saw that the first week and a half when I had ISS full of vapes, but that has calmed down. They've adjusted to our focus on certain things in the dress code. They haven't bucked too hard on that. Overall, Miss Lovejoy's gotten some parking spots sold, and we're busy. You know, I feel like I've gone from summertime just chill to 120 miles an hour in like 3 weeks. So it's been good. I can't say enough good things about our kids. We have some really good kids. Activities, as you can see, we've got volleyball all over the place. We've got cross country going. We've got football. BPA's taking debit cards at the concession now, so they're making a lot of money. They're just as busy. And as Ms. Carr said, BPA's trying to start a junior high BPA over the junior high. So just trying to let the kids be as involved with other students as possible to spread that leadership and what we expect of them.
Okay, good deal. All right, Mr. Williams.
All right. I was going to go ahead and make note real quick. You can look at my report that, and when we got volunteered, I don't think the superintendent sitting up there next to you was so fired up about this, but he's been a busy man, and just to give you some empathy, the UIL portal is a statewide portal, and when you get selected to be the district chair of anything, it is an absolute administrative nightmare that takes tons and tons of time. So in his seat, I'm sure he's got a ton of other items on the fire that he's got to do when it comes to running the district, but now he's got to also approve anybody in our district for cross-country, track, academic UIL, marching band, one act, anybody that moves one district to another and tries to participate in sports. They have to fill out a previous athletic participation form, and they have to go through like 5 different channels. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know how lengthy it is, but it's all digital now. And so ultimately, all of that has to be precise. Then it gets sent to his desk, and then he's got to either approve it or disapprove it, whether it's clean or unclean. Basically, they didn't move for athletic reasons. They live in the district. They've been enrolled for a calendar year. There's so many rules that he's got to check for each individual kid. And not only are we the spring chair, not only is Mr. Garrison the spring chair, he's also the volleyball chair. Now, the softball and baseball chair is yet to be decided, so we're crossing our fingers that somebody else.
We're not doing that.
Because, and how that works is you have a meeting just like this, and ultimately, people nominate you. And so when you get nominated, it's ultimately, you know, yeah, they're trying to nominate you so they don't have to do it, but they also nominate you because they know it'll get done right. And so kudos to that dude, because, I mean, it was unanimous, you know. And same way with volleyball. I mean, so his reputation speaks for himself. But with that said, I want y'all to understand his hands are full. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a load. And it ultimately, a UIL mandates the final draw is the superintendent. So if there's ever an administrative issue on whether or not a kid's eligible, the district committee is comprised of all those school superintendents, not ADs, not head coaches, that man. And so he's got to arrange that meeting for each kid if there's a question. And so it's a pain. But anyway, kudos to him. With that said, we have 29 kids playing in high school volleyball and up to 3 teams. They're competing well, they're getting better. The biggest thing we're struggling with there is just consistency. They'll play really good one set, and then we'll have a dip. So if we can get some continuity there, I think they're going to really get things turning, especially with district kids. 44 total kids playing high school football. I will touch on this. If you've looked at our football schedule, it's not a cakewalk. And I do that on purpose, especially our first 5 games. I can't control district, but with the program growing, especially with the kids coming up through the program, our numbers are good. And if you schedule teams that are smaller than you, then you run the risk of them not necessarily having a 7th grade team or not having enough for a JV, which is precisely what Shamrock was the only game that I could find this week. And they're a good high school opponent. But now our 7th grade, or our 8th grade is having to play Wheeler, our 7th grade is playing Shamrock. But luckily, Wheeler needed 2 sub-varsity games, and they're right down the street. So it worked out this year, but typically, just so you know, the reason I play those teams is so that our 7th grade gets a good game in, our 8th grade gets a good game in. We're preparing for the same opponent for both Thursday night and Friday night, so we've got continuity amongst our staff. And then I'm not splitting the staff up on Thursday nights going every direction. So it works out better to play up. Sometimes that means your varsity may be the team that takes the hickey when the program's not where it needs to be. But I'd still rather do that and see the program grow than to see those young ones not get a game in or have to combine. And so ultimately our schedule's tough for a reason, you can blame me. But I'm glad with our numbers, and we're competing well, especially at the sub-varsity level, and our varsity defense is phenomenal. So if you came to watch the game, level of play is great. Our defense is phenomenal. They fly around and they're playing super hard. Offensively, I'll take the full hickey on that. We've got to get better offensively, and we'll get there. But the buck stops with me. We've got to be able to gel, and that comes down to execution. It's pretty easy defensively to be able to read and react, but offensively, it really comes down to execution and 11 guys being on the same page at the same time. So the good thing about it is we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just got to focus on what we got to do to put points on the board. Next thing I want to talk about is cross country. Shahina took this program over last year, and it started out somewhat small. It has exploded. I mean, absolutely exploded. If you've seen I've seen the pictures on cross country up there. We've got kids that are running cross country that don't even go to the meets. And so every morning you see the stadium lights on. Shahina's really done a great job getting kids out. And so kudos to her, but also the basketball coaches have basically said, hey, if you're not going to play volleyball or football, get your tail out there and go to cross country practice. And that goes a long ways to get kids in shape, so that way when basketball hits, they haven't been twiddling their thumbs, they're in shape. And so we've got support across the coaching staff that's funneling that, and Shahina's taking it and ran with it. And so I know one thing, there's a Wiggins boy sitting next to me right now that originally didn't want to do that, but when his dad said, get your tail out there and run, I think he's getting a little bit more confident. So I'm proud of him for doing it. He thinks I'm embarrassing him, but he did not finish last, so I'm proud of that. Anyway, homecoming's this Friday. If you hadn't figured it out, we had a concert out here last night. Some kids got up and displayed their talents. It was really fun. It was fun just to see the camaraderie of the community come together, and it was just kids that, there was people from all over that just got wind of the kids playing, and they wanted to see some music, and so it was a good time and innocent time. It was just good fun. You didn't have to have a cold beer in your hand to watch music. I mean, you come out here and literally rock Christian music, and it was fun. I loved it. But with that said, pray for the family of the Dalhart student who lost it. I'm telling you, the worst fear you have as a coach is to go out of town and not get every kid home to their parents. And I'm telling you, I've been there, 100% been there when I was at Vega, and I have so much empathy for Coach Reed and his coaching staff at Dalhart and that whole community. And I'm telling you, that's a huge hole, and it never really does heal. But good Lord will definitely take over there. But they definitely need our prayers. That's the last thing you want to see when you're playing football. And another thing there's been a couple of questions about, like I said, stadium lights on. Not only does Shahina come out here and work out in the mornings just because she works around so many schedules with junior high practice, with football and volleyball, and also with our strength and conditioning. But when we do our strength and conditioning in the morning, we still utilize that track. And so we wear that thing out. And so if you see the stadium lights on in the morning, the big reason is the kids are out there running on it. I mean, if we're going to have it, we might as well use it. So we get out there and we get around that surface. And I mean, the kids don't like it. They don't like it. But you know what's good about it is it's no matter how you slice it on Monday or Wednesday, we have 3-day practices. And so we get out at 5:45, 5:30, typically on a Monday, Tuesday. But if you think about it, they've been lifting at 6:30, running at 7. And so they get an hour practice of just wear you out before school. Then during the period, we get another 45 minutes to work all our special teams every day and really get good at special teams. And then after school, we come after school and focus on offense and defense. And so it breaks it up to where it's not a long, monotonous 3-hour practice. Because in all honesty, no offense, Shelby, I can't stay in church for more than an hour and lose my attention on that deal. So really, I think it works out better, you know, for our kids. But once you get them in the routine year-round, if you think about it, Monday, Wednesday, we don't have basketball games on Monday, Wednesday, so they get in that routine. So you're never lifting on game day, you're never doing that hard conditioning on game day. Same way with baseball, you're playing on Tuesday, Friday, so the kids get accustomed to that, and you're guaranteed to get those lift ins, and the girls are doing the same thing. Anybody have any questions at all? I'm so proud of our kids. They compete well. In the last game on Friday, they represented our school well. Offensively, like I said, you put blame on me on that deal, but as far as our level of play, how hard our kids play, man, it'll make you proud. They played their butt off. So, I was very proud.
All right, last but not least, Ms. Swift.
All right. The first 3-4 pages I put in my report are the 2021-2022 star comparisons. And so Region 16 sends out a template with the state and the region percentages on how we compare for each star test, each level. And then I plugged in our district numbers so we could see. When I went and looked through the data, we really, we hit a lot of really good targets in a lot of grade levels. There's a few areas, you know, that we definitely know we need to improve on. But I was really proud once we started digging in to look. We were, you know, less on the ones that did not meet, and we were above on all the others in almost every single area of every test. So we've done a lot of really good things. And we're going to keep working on that. There's junior high and elementary school both still have a couple areas that the state is targeting for improvement, and Ms. McCowan and Ms. Carr and I went last week to a meeting where we're going to set some goals for the district that are going to be in our campus plans, and we're going to work on those again in a couple weeks. That way we can get the goals written. And the principals are all working with the teachers on talks, data talks. They're doing DMAC tests where they're talking with the teachers about the data, and we're going to track all of that as well, just to see how our data improves over the school year. So we've been digging deep into data. On the last page, one of the tasks that Mr. Garrison has really pushed as one of his big items is called the teacher incentive allotment. And I had my first Zoom meeting with the state this week over how we're going to get started. And what the teacher incentive allotment does is basically gives the teacher extra money. It's like free money from the state. There's a lot of requirements to get the plan going. I'm actually feeling a little overwhelmed with it at the moment. But we're going to start some committees to, we have to design how we're going to decide on the money. We have to come up with systems on how we recognize teachers. We have to look at how we rate teachers as far as their performance, making sure that we're rating them the same. We have to decide what, subjects or what types of teachers or who's going to be the teachers getting the money. There's a lot that goes into it. We have to decide how we're going to spend it.
So there's a lot of parts, and I just kind of thrown in like the foundational steps. And we have to get all of this stuff done, and the application has to be submitted in April. And right now, if we were a campus or a district that the teachers were receiving the money, I put at the bottom corner, a teacher that was considered recognized would get an extra $5,513 a year. If they were exemplary, they would get $11,000 a year, and if they're a master teacher, they'd get $20 grand a year. And so this is, and they get it for 5 years. Once they're awarded this distinction, they get the money for 5 years, and then they have to start over with this. So, you know, it'd be a great benefit for our teachers. It would be a nice little task to try to get people here for our school district, but it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of planning and deciding, and so there'll be more to come about teacher incentive allotment.
Do we have any questions on it? No? Okay. We're going to move to Mr. Hine on monthly financial report.
She was the last one. I don't have in September, we don't have a prior month to report on, so I don't have financial reports for you, except the activity report is out there if you have any questions about it. I do have a few other items to talk about. We did the annual mold testing at the elementary school that we've said we would do. The day that we brought them in to test was an unfortunate day, because if you remember right at the beginning of school, there's 3 days, 72 hours where it rained straight, and the outside mold count was close to 1,000. So 4 rooms inside actually had some mold that was very similar to the outside, and the allergen mold, not even the bad stuff. Very similar to the outside air. We didn't have the air conditioners on or anything. So in an overabundance of caution, that was on a Friday. We brought them back on Monday and had them test again. Monday we had the AC and everything running. Every classroom tested negative. We got a complete clear that there is no mold currently active in the elementary, so that was a very good thing. At the last meeting, we asked about how we do leave the half-day increment again. Mr. Moneymaker asked me to talk about that again. So the reason we do leave in half-day increments as opposed to hour increments is that we report to the state. The state requires us to report the leftover leave at the end of each year in half-day increments. So that's why we do it in half-day increments, is just because of that requirement of the reporting to the state.
Is it, so are you required to take it in half days, or is that just how you have to report it?
That is how we report it, so that's why that's why we require it to be taken that way, so that it matches what we report to the state. We do have other policies in place to help alleviate, say if you've got to be gone for an hour, we'll forgive an hour if it doesn't require a substitute. We also, like an hourly employee that's, say a maintenance worker just needs to leave an hour early, they don't have to be docked half day or take half day leave, they just do an hour dock or whatever. But we do have the hour forgiveness thing. We have fairly new administrative staff on each campus, so I did send out an email, I think last week, reminding them that we do have that policy. So that's to help address people that I just need to go get my teeth cleaned for 30 minutes or something like that. So we do have that policy in place specifically to try to alleviate some of the issues with doing the half day. Any other questions? Okay, short one for me. Thanks.
That was short. Okay. Mr. Garrison.
Well, it seems like it's nearly May already, and that's just the middle of September. We've been so busy, but we've been working on safety and security. You know, that's a big push this year by the state. We do have a safety and security meeting September 21st at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom, so if anybody wants to join us there, we'll be making some decisions that concern the safety and security of the students and staff. You're more than welcome to join us there. I did meet with the DPS officer, the same one that came to the schools, and he showed me the programs they use and how they get officers, you know, to an event if something wants to happen. It's a neat program that they have. We met for about an hour last week and in my office and talked about several things. Also, let's see, I've got a Zoom meeting tomorrow with other superintendents from the region. And I have been checking interior doors. This year we had a push of, we want to keep our kids as safe as possible. So I've been going around the classrooms, and the teachers have been doing an outstanding job, and the principals of, doing what we're asking of them to keep our kids safe and keeping their doors locked. And so if you look at our enrollment there, we're up roughly about 25 to 30 kids of where we were at the end of the year, so that's a good thing. Again, our attendance district-wide is sitting about 95.88%, which is good. And so there's the activities that we've got for the month of September there. Got the homecoming parade and bonfire tomorrow night. And like Coach Wiggins said, the junior high teams and JV play either Shamrock or Wheeler Thursday night in Shamrock. And then homecoming, I think it's going to be a packed house. We've had several class reunions saying they're coming. So there ought to be quite a few people here to supporting our Eagles on Friday night.
Any questions for Mr. Garrison? All right. Let's set the next date for the regular meeting. How's 11th with everybody? 11th or the 12th? 12th. Yeah. Okay. Everybody good with the 12th? 6 o'clock?
What about actually? I've got the emergency operations plan and some things I believe it's due the 12th. So if we could do it before the 12th, so I can present it to y'all before turn it in.
Okay.
So can we do the 5th?
I'll do the 5th. Everybody good with the 5th? Okay, we'll do it that day then. 6 o'clock.
I want to thank Ms. Searles for taking on that TIA. The ones of us that have been on the board for quite a while have really wanted to do that for many years. No one would take it on, so we appreciate it because it's going to be a really big job.
Yeah, good luck with
But we've heard so many good things about it, but we've heard it's a struggle to get it started, and I just appreciate it. Whether you wanted to do it or not. I appreciate you tackling it.
Now, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight. Just to come, and I mean, it's great to have people come and see what's going on in the school and what we've got planned and what we're doing. And we're going to go into executive session, and we'll be in there for a while. So you're more than welcome to stay. I'll call us into the executive session at 6:50 to deliberate the employment, evaluation, reassignment, duty, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or an employee to hear a complaint against or charge against an officer or employee, Texas Governmental Code 551.074. The deployment or specific occasion of implementation of security personnel, critical infrastructure, or security devices. Texas Governmental Code 551.076. And to go over student discipline, Texas Governmental Code 551.082. Go into that All right, Mr. Hine, will you call us back into session at 7:44? All right. Mr. Garrison.
I recommend the resolution for authorizing an employee to carry a firearm at school property.
Okay, I have a recommendation by Jason. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the resolution authorizing an employee to carry a firearm on school property.
I have a motion by Chad, second.
Second.
Second by Doug. All in favor? All in favor? Motion carries, none opposed. Okay, I make a motion to adjourn at 7:45.
Second.
Second by Rusty, all in favor? Motion carries. We are adjourned.